Hey Ottawa, this is your Monday market snapshot for the Ottawa real estate market on Monday, November 20th, 2023. I can't believe we're almost through November, but anyways, let's get to the update. My name is Annalee Rice and I'm a realtor here in Ottawa, Ontario. Every week I bring you the updates on what's going on in the Ottawa real estate market. Make sure to subscribe or give it a like, send me your questions and let me know what you'd like to see on these updates because sometimes I don't know what people actually want to hear. Okay. First off, let's look citywide, and we can see that the number of active listings continues to drop. We'll see that in chart form on the next slide. The number of sales this week was down by 18, so it's about the same as what we were at 2 weeks ago. Last week was a little bit of a bump of sales. This is the graph form of the inventory, so we can see that for the last 4 weeks, we've been seeing a decline in overall properties on the market. That's the black line. The active listings is the green, and the sales and conditional sales are not dropping off really fast, but the sales are down a little bit this week. Conditional sales did stay fairly steady as what we've seen the last few weeks. Okay, so here we have the breakdown of the new listings themselves. We had 253 properties that were listed this week. 89 of those properties were relisted properties and 164 were properties that were new to the market. The ratio of that was about 35% relisted versus 65% new to the market. So that ratio is about the same as what we saw last week, but the whole total number is lower. So that's why you see all of those. The yellow, the blue, and the gray are all dropping, and the red staying fairly steady up and down week to week as the sales. And interestingly, you can see that the number of new listings is actually getting quite close to the number of sales. So that typically happens when we end up having only happen a couple times throughout the year, but when you have a little bit more competition and such, I don't think that's going to happen here. I think the sales are going to start dropping off because we're having such fewer listings being new to the market. We're going to start seeing the sales drop off in the weeks to come as well. Okay, so when we look at the sales themselves, we had 16% of the sales this week sold without conditions. That's back down to what we were seeing the last month or so. Last week was a bit of an anomaly at like nearly 30%. And the 4-week average for that is down to 21%. Of the properties that sold this week, 4% of them sold in 7 days or less. That's only 5 properties. It was very low. And 2 of those, or 40%, sold with no conditions. And our percentage of homes selling within 30 days dropped quite significantly this week. It was down to 38%. We've been up around the 45, 50, 55% for most of the time this fall. So just this week, it was quite a bit lower, probably just a bit of a blip, but definitely will be decreasing as we have fewer new listings and properties are on the market for longer. Okay, so let's zoom in and see what's happening in the different regions of the city. First off, in the central urban region, we see slight decreases in the active listings across property types, and sales were actually up for towns and condos, but down for detached this week. In Canada and Stittsville, we had a drop in the number of detached and condos, slight increase in the number of towns listed for sale, and the number of sales for detached homes was down, slightly up for towns and condos. In Barrhaven and Riverside South, the number of active for detached and towns slightly down, slightly up for condos, and the sales were slightly down across property types in Barrhaven and Riverside South. And in Orleans, we had a drop in the number of detached homes on the market, slight increase for townhomes and no change for condos. And sales were up slightly for detached and towns, and there were 0 sales of condos this week in Orleans. Next up, I've got the chart format for all the details if you want to see how many conditionals and solds and actives and how long the days on market are for the different property types. And same thing for the townhomes and condos. Okay, so it was a rather quick update. We are getting to near the end of the month. I do think that the sales this month have been a fair bit slower than what we saw even in October, which was obviously slower than September. We are going to see the sales being much lower, but the inventory is coming down. I do think overall we're starting to see the months of inventory will climb, which is completely normal for the winter months of the year. So I hope you have a great week. And if you do have any questions, please drop me a question, drop me a comment in the YouTube comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And the next time I have the charts, I want to test out to see whether or not people like line charts versus bar charts for average sale prices. I'll test that out and see what people think. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.